Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today is a special day for me and so many Battlefield fans out there, as of course many of y'all have probably already seen, but we did get a Battlefield reveal trailer, and to my surprise we was actually shown quite a bit in the trailer. But in this video I did want to go over a few things I thought were pretty important to highlight from the trailer. But before we get into that, I must say EA is absolutely incredible at making trailers. Every trailer I've ever seen for a Battlefield game is not bad whatsoever. They really do a good job getting people very interested and hyped for the next upcoming game. But at the end of the day, we are talking about EA here, which have created some many great Battlefields, but do have to remember also they created some not so good ones, especially with the last one, Battlefield 2042. So as I am excited for the next upcoming game, I do try to be cautious a little bit. But to start us off from the things I've highlighted, we do start off with a president having to give a tough speech and mentioning a dark day in history. And from this we see that there was a huge conflict going on in the world. And in this trailer we do get the antagonist name, which is Pax Armada Mercenaries. And it does seem these mercenaries are not really aligned with any country. And I am saying this because of course in the speech we did hear the president say no country is safe from their reach. And in the trailer we actually are shown a soldier with a burnt face. And to me, I believe this is going to be the mercenaries leader. It's definitely going to be hard to say how this guy became the leader of this mercenary group, but I am suspecting that his burnt face has a story to tell, and I got a feeling this is going to be a story of betrayal. So we might end up finding out this guy was betrayed by his country, whatever country that might be the United States, and then he felt betrayed and went out on his own and created his own mercenary group. But definitely do take my speculating with a grain of salt, as all this is my opinion and I'm just guessing here. I haven't read any articles. I'm not sure if there's any articles explaining the exact way the story is going to go in Battlefield. I don't believe there is any yet. But definitely from the trailer, we did see that we will be fighting in all kinds of different environments, cities, deserts, beaches. And with all the different environments we've seen, it definitely gives me some Battlefield 3 vibes with all the different maybe possible maps we could play on, which most of this I do think was from the story. But as we've seen in older Battlefield games, some of the story maps actually do kind of align with some of the multiplayer maps we get. But in the trailer, we did get some known locations, definitely with city-wise, we did see New York, as we were shown the Statue of Liberty. And with this being set in New York, there's so many buildings, so many cars, a bunch of destruction to be had. So I think it's going to be very exciting to see what they do with the story in New York. And one thing I was definitely surprised to see was the pyramids. So this does mean that we are going to Egypt. And it might not just stop there, it might go over the whole continent of Africa. But I think it'd be super exciting if we could actually maybe fight in some pyramids or take down some pyramids, explore some pyramids. I think it'd be pretty cool. But no doubt the main focus on this trailer that really caught my attention was just the all-out destruction. You can definitely tell they've heard the fans' voices, but as many of y'all know, in Battlefield 2042, destruction was lacking so much in that game, especially in the core mode. It happened to be there in the portal mode with some of the older maps, but it definitely seems like from this trailer, EA's letting us know that we heard you and made a big point to show us all the destruction and levolution that we're going to see in the next Battlefield game. We were definitely shown a lot in this trailer, like bridges exploding, helicopters crashing into buildings, buildings falling apart from the top down. And definitely the biggest takeaway when it comes to destruction was dams breaking. And seeing this, it definitely gets me thinking about how they will implement this into the multiplayer. I'd imagine we're going to see a lot of Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, kind of different changes to the map over time. Like in Battlefield 4, we did see a skyscraper fall. We've seen with Paracel Storm, the storm come in and really change up the map with ships crashing on the beach and everything. I definitely do expect to see more of that in this next upcoming Battlefield game. But I will say we did actually get some of that in Battlefield 2042. It just wasn't on the level that we thought it was going to be, being, somewhat of a futuristic game. We did see tornadoes come in, but didn't have that much of a change and they wouldn't last that long. It definitely did look cool in the trailer that we've seen for 2042, don't get me wrong, but it was just implemented pretty poorly, I would say. And that kind of goes with the rest of the game with 2042. And in the trailer, we also did see some different uniforms. You did see some normal uniforms that you would expect to see in a military operation. But this does feel like we're going kind of old school, because we did see a sniper with ghillie strands on. And I hope them doing this kind of shows us that they're going more in the realistic way with this game. I didn't like 2042 where they got a little carried away with some of the cosmetics. Me personally, I definitely prefer the old Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3 style of just very realistic. But I understand EA is all about making money, and they definitely do that cosmetic wise. But if you do add in cosmetics, I definitely hope they try to stay a little bit more realistic this time around. But in the trailer, we do see some soldiers enter a building, and first thing I notice is some blue tape on one of the soldiers' magazines. I'm not too sure what this means. Maybe they do this in real life, maybe somebody could tell me, but I'm kind of thinking it indicates a different ammo type. But we do get a close-up of a soldier's weapon, and we see he has a scope, a flashlight, a laser, and a foregrip. So everything you would expect in an FPS game. But I think they are doing this to make a note to show, you know what, this game's going to have a lot more customization to it when it comes to the gunplay. I would say in the older Battlefield games, the attachments you had on didn't mean as much as the weapon themselves. But I feel like this is going to change in this next upcoming Battlefield game. I feel like attachments and customization is going to mean a lot more and be more important and really have a big impact on the way your weapon performs. But of course this wouldn't be a Battlefield game without vehicles, and we've seen tanks, helicopters, jets, and ATVs. Everything that you do want to see in a Battlefield game. But we do see in a scene some tanks approaching a beach, which is very nice to see. It's a very cool shot. But one thing I didn't see, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't see any boats in the trailer. And to me that definitely worries me because I missed the sea battles in Battlefield 2042. There were just none whatsoever. Because I definitely think sea battles is a good part of a Battlefield game. It's not really the main part, I guess. Most of it does happen on land. But I would love to see sea battles come back. But definitely let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see sea battles return. But another cool scene we got was actually a soldier taking down an enemy with a sledgehammer. And me seeing this definitely reminds me of some takedown animations like we've seen in Battlefield 2042 or like Call of Duty has. And me personally, I'm fine with takedown animations as long as we're getting those dog tags at the end of the day. But I don't want to see them go too wacky like we've seen in Call of Duty. Again, I want this game to be more realistic than anything. But in the scene, we did see some blood on the character's face, and hopefully this is indicating a more rugged look. I've said this plenty of times in the past, but Battlefield 2042 just looked too clean in my opinion. Like some janitor group came in and just cleaned the whole battlefield before anything even happened. So hopefully in this game, before, during, and after, it's just rugged the whole time, actually looking like a war zone like it should. But like I mentioned, we did see this guy was taken out by a sledgehammer, so might see the possibility of a ton of melee weapons making its way to the game. But also in the trailer, we did see some soldiers breaching a door, kinda Insurgency Sandstorm style. Not sure if this will just be in the campaign. I think it'd be very cool if it was implemented to the multiplayer. And I don't mind the idea of having doors in multiplayer, I just don't want to see them go overboard like they do in Call of Duty. Seems like every Call of Duty game has doors involved now. And out of all the FPS games, I would think Call of Duty would be the one to not ever have doors involved, how fast paced the game is. Doors seems more like a Battlefield thing, but this might be the first time we do see it implemented into a Battlefield game, so very interesting to see the way they do this, if they do it for the multiplayer. But we do get a cool and cinematic shot when we see soldiers using wingsuits to fly onto a mountain. And I will say personally, I hope these wingsuits just stay to multiplayer. I don't want to see flying squirrels again in a Battlefield game, but that is just my opinion. They were fun to use in 2042, but I feel like if this game is going more realistic, I feel like we need to just stick to parachutes only, like it has been since Battlefield started until this last game we did get. But if you feel different and would like to see wingsuits make a return, definitely love to hear your opinions down in the comments below. But I will say at the least, it did make for some interesting gameplay in 2042. I just don't see it fitting really the style that we're going to see in this next upcoming Battlefield game. But like I mentioned earlier, some campaign maps do turn into multiplayer maps, and we did get a subway scene in the trailer, and this could possibly be our first look of how Operation Metro will be. Now I think EA has already said that older Battlefield maps will be in this new upcoming game, so maybe we will get just the OG Operation Metro and this scene is nothing, or maybe they'll remake it a little bit and maybe this possibly was a hint of how it will look. And that is going to do it for us. This is just some of the things that I highlighted. I'm sure I did miss some things from the trailer, and if I did, definitely let me know about them down in the comments. But at the end of the trailer, we did see that there's going to be a multiplayer rebuild trailer on July 31st, so definitely keep an eye out for that. I'm going to try to make a video about that one as well. And if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe.